And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, oh boy, have we got a show for you today. You know what? I always look forward to Tuesdays and Thursdays. We are gonna have our own Sean LaFave here, and God only knows what we may or may not be talking about. But you know what? On today's show, we are going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I do every day. On today's special segment, though, as I said, Sean LaFave and I, we're going to be talking about current events and healthcare on the Geared for Wellness corner that we do here, like I said, every Tuesday and Thursday with Sean. And then we'll always have, a lot of extra things to say that we weren't even aware that we were going to be doing. But first off, I want you to stand by for news. And at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. You heard me say it's sunny. The sun's back out. It's a beautiful day outside. And when Sean gets here, we'll find out what it's like in Newport Beach. That's certainly one of the things that we want to be doing. But you know what? Right now, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the 10 things that you need to know for today, Tuesday. This is your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about all day today and tomorrow. And first up, who's not running for president? Well, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg says he has decided against mounting a third-party bid for the White House. And a jury awards Aaron Andrews $55 million in a lawsuit over the nude video. The Fox Sports reporter and co-host of the TV show Dancing with the Stars weeps as the verdict is announced. And what Turkey wants before it accepts more migrants? To ease the ongoing crisis, Ankara is demanding a doubling of funding beyond the 3 billion euros, that's $3.3 billion, already pledged by the European Union. Well, the United States hits a Somalia training camp. Killed in the airstrikes are more than 150 militant fighters who were preparing to launch a large-scale attack, the Pentagon says. And how the United States is pushing back at Pyongyang. The State Department says it takes North Korea's threats seriously and wants to halt to provocative rhetoric and behavior. You know what? If they don't put a halt to the provocative behavior and stuff, we're liable to put a halt to Kim Jong-un. Let's see. Anyway, funeral plans are set for Nancy Reagan. The services will be Friday at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California, with First Lady Michelle Obama among those attending. And the womb transplant patient meets the press. The recipient of the very first uterus transplant in the United States says at a news conference that she's grateful for the chance to possibly bear a child. What a miracle. And why bathroom scales don't tell the whole story. Well, keeping body fat low is more important than a low overall weight, researchers say. And this has got to do with something we're going to talk to Sean LaFave about a little bit later in the show, and that's the BMI, the Body Mass Index. We'll talk about this with with Sean. He's an absolute expert with this. And AC/DC calls a halt to the United States tour. The band says doctors have advised lead singer Brian Johnson to stop touring immediately or risk total hearing loss. And finally, Maria Sharapova acknowledges failing a drug test. The tennis star could face a lengthy ban from the International Tennis Federation for the violation. But you know what? I think it's unlikely that that's going to happen. She had been taking these drugs for about 10 years because of a heart problem that she had. When she found out it was on the list of banned drugs, she immediately admitted it. She wasn't hiding it. I think that what's going to wind up happening is that they're going to say, hey, now you did the right thing. You told us all about it, and just don't do it anymore. Or find something else that you can replace it with that's allowed. And you know what? Let's talk about some in-depth news. Boy, I'll tell you what a day. Trump and Clinton are looking to pad the leads in Michigan and Mississippi. This just came in 24 minutes ago. Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Hillary Clinton look to pad their leads in Tuesday's primary contests in Michigan and Mississippi, eager to turn their attention toward a general election fight for the White House. Trump is racing a barrage of criticism from rival candidates and outside groups desperate to block him from becoming the GOP nominee. While the real estate mogul holds a solid lead in the delegate count, his recent losses to Texas Senator Ted Cruz have raised questions about his durability and have given fresh hope to other competitors. Ohio Governor John Kasich tried to mount a strong challenge to Trump in Michigan, today's biggest prize. Kasich has yet to win a primary, but hoped to a good showing in Michigan would give him a boost heading into next week's crucial contest in his home state of Ohio. Now, speaking to a crowd in Lansing, Kasich said a strong showing in Michigan would show the country that it's a new day in this presidential campaign. To that end, Kasich and Florida Senator Marco Rubio were using recorded phone calls from Mitt Romney to appeal to voters as they headed to the polls. Romney, the 2012 GOP nominee, has not endorsed a candidate, but has vowed to help challengers to Trump, who he says would be dangerous for the country. I'm beginning to think that Romney was dangerous, is dangerous to the country. Gives that some thought. How about this? Oh, wait a minute. I hit the same button again. Here we go. Now, voices from voters as they cast primary ballots in 4 states. This came in 3 minutes ago. Voters in 4 states are making their choices today in party primaries. Michigan's the big prize sought by Republican frontrunner Donald Trump as he aims to prevent his rivals from narrowing the delegate gap. Mississippi, Idaho, and Hawaii are also holding Republican contests. Democrats Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders face off in Michigan and Mississippi. You know what? Here's it's a short look at what the voters actually had to say. Claire and Mick Olenek of Traverse City, Michigan, are self-described conservatives, but a few minutes into the most recent Republican debate, the couple who have a young son turned off the television in disgust. Embarrassing, said Mick 39, added Claire 31. If they can't communicate with each other, people who in theory share their same beliefs, how in the world are they going to communicate with people who don't? Their choice? John Kasich. The Ohio governor is fiscally responsible and smart, they said, someone who would exercise good judgment and represent the nation well in dealings with foreign leaders. Well, we'll see what happens with that. You know what? Let me just give you a little bit more. I like the fact that he leans more conservative, but he's not a scary conservative, said Claire, a professional musician and a co-owner with her husband of a marketing business. Of everybody still left in the race, frankly, he's the one that scares me least. Well, that gives you an idea of what's actually going on. These robocalls and all that stuff, that's nothing but dirty tricks. That's BS. That's these guys trying to send out false information to scuttle the hopes of what should be an honest election. You know what? And then it's going to be anything but that. Well, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about despair and confusion in Greece as refugees face a closed border. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? Despair, confusion, and Greece as the refugees face a closed border. Despair and confusion spread through the camp at the Greek-Macedonian border today as thousands of stranded refugees are forced to acknowledge that the route through Europe that had carried their hopes and dreams was now shut. The dozens of people crammed together at the front of the line to the border crossing looked at the closed gate and razor wire in disbelief. One young Syrian muttered that he had been in the tent at the crossing for 5 days without sleeping. It was his 15th day at the Idomeni refugee camp. One woman broke down crying and screaming as she held her baby in her arms while a man tried to calm and comfort her. Refugees asked reporters what had happened in Brussels and asked what they could or should do next. European Union leaders who held a summit with Turkey said early today they hoped that they had reached the outlines for a possible deal with Ankara to return thousands of migrants to Turkey and said they were confident a full agreement could be reached at a summit next week. They also said the irregular flows of migrants along the Western Balkans route have now come to an end. Well, you don't know what to think. You just don't know what to think or what to say. It's just sad, right? Yeah. Well, despite U.S. airstrikes, Somali extremist group is still active. By U.S. accounts, it was a devastating airstrike against Islamic militants in Somalia, with more than 150 killed in a training camp, but it likely won't diminish al-Shabaab's ability to continue a wave of attacks. African Union ground forces succeeded in ousting al-Shabaab fighters from Somalia's capital in 2011 and protecting the weak government. But they have been unable to stop attacks in the AU forces, including one that killed up to 200 Kenyan soldiers in January in a frequent suicide attacks on civilian targets in Mogadishu in an attempt to bring down an airliner in February. The forested military training camp, located 125 miles north of Mogadishu, was al-Shabaab's main planning base, a Somali intelligence official said today. Somalia's intelligence service cooperated with the United States in its airstrike, said the official, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he is not authorized to speak to the press on this matter. U.S. forces had been watching Raso camp for several weeks, said Navy Captain Jeff Davis, a Pentagon spokesman. It appeared training was ending and the operational phase of a suspected attack against the African or U.S. personnel was about to start, he said. Well, I guess that's a good enough reason to make an attack, I would say. How about this? FBI agents investigated over shots fired during a standoff. Yep. Back in Portland, Oregon, FBI agents involved in the traffic stop that led to the killing of one of the armed occupiers of an Oregon wildlife refuge are under investigation for not disclosing that they fired shots that missed Robert Lavoy Finicum, authorities said today. Oregon State Police fired the 3 rounds that killed the Arizona rancher during a confrontation with authorities on a remote road, Oregon law enforcement officials said at a news conference in Bend, Oregon today. But the results of an independent investigation by Oregon authorities found the troops were justified in shooting Finicum because he failed to heed their commands and repeatedly reached for his weapon. Malheur County District Attorney Dan Norris said the investigators discovered members of an FBI hostage rescue team who were at the scene failed to disclose that they fired 2 rounds. You know, why is it that there's more police cover-ups than there are bad guy cover-ups? Not to say that a lot of these police aren't bad guys. Well, the World Health Organization says a sexual transplant of Zika more common than thought. I said transplant, I meant to say transmission. Sexual transmission of the Zika virus is more common than previously thought, the World Health Organization said today, citing reports from several countries. After a meeting of its emergency committee on this morning, the UN Health Agency also said there is increasing evidence that a spike in disturbing birth defects and neurological problems are caused by Zika, which is mostly spread by mosquito bites. When the World Health Organization declared the explosive outbreak in the Americas to be global emergency last month, it said that the evidence that Zika was responsible was only circumstantial. Well, WHO Director General Dr. Margaret Chan said reports and investigations in several countries strongly suggest that sexual transmission of the virus is more common than previously assumed. The U.S. is investigating more than a dozen possible cases of Zika in people who may have been infected through sex. Well, why not? Who knows? I can tell you this much. I'll tell you one guy that's not upset with it at all. That's our own Sean Lefebvre. We might ask him about that a little bit later, too. Well, 3 decades later, a mixed legacy for Just Say No. For a generation of Americans, First Lady Nancy Reagan was most closely associated with a single phrase, just say no. 3 decades after the anti-drug campaign's heyday, its legacy is mixed. Experts say the slogan brought new attention to the drug abuse and helped focus research on how to prevent it. But the motto was also part of a larger escalation of the drug war that relied on a fear-based rhetoric, public moralizing, and skyrocketing incarceration rates. Overall, the larger prevention community is thankful for large campaigns like Just Say No for the broad population-level awareness that they raise, said Derek Franklin, who heads the Washington Association for Substance Abuse and Violence Prevention. However, the sort of shaming attitude and questionable moral divide that it created was something we wouldn't do today. Now, you can say that again. The war on drugs doesn't appear to be being won by us or anybody else, maybe by the drug lords. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to do the IRS losers. We've got three great cases for you. The first one is the IRS must repay funds after a refund deadline. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks. We've got good stuff for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated Celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're finally at my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. But first, I want you to know that at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time, currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And yeah, that sun is out, and it is beautiful. We can look out the studio windows and see the snow up on the mountains. It's gorgeous. Well, if you're listening to us on our global network, syndicated network, and you're in New York City, it's 53 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 70 degrees and mostly cloudy. But right now, let's talk about the IRS loses. First up, the IRS must repay funds after a refund deadline. Here's the case. An estate held property that was involved in litigation and hard to value. Before filing its return or receiving any tax bill, it remitted $165,000 to the IRS to stop penalties and interest from running on any tax that it might have owed. Now later, it filed a late return showing no tax due, but the IRS said that the deadline for refunding its $165,000 tax payment had passed. The estate said that the $165,000 hadn't been a tax payment, but a deposit not subject to the deadline, and so they went to court. This is what the judge said. No tax had been calculated at the time of remittance, and the IRS's own rules say that an undesignated remittance made before a tax liability is proposed is a deposit. The estate gets the money back, and not only that, they get the money back with interest, and not only that, the IRS is ordered to pay the legal fees for the estate. Hello, doesn't that send chills up and down your spine? Sure does mine. How about this? The IRS loses. A wife in a community property state gets credit for all of her withholding. Sounds normal, right? Well, listen to this. A couple separated after the 8th month of the year and filed separate returns. The husband had income during the 8 months but paid no tax. Now, under community property rules, the IRS said that half of this income was taxable to the wife. She was employed and had $38,354 of tax withheld from her pay. But the IRS credited the husband with $12,785 of it, half of the withholding during the 8 months. She protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. The wife was properly taxed on half of her husband's income, but it was inequitable to deny her credit for tax that she had paid and credit it to the husband who had paid none. So she gets credit for all of her payments, and that's the way it should be. Yeah. All right. One last one here for you, for the IRS loses, and that's improper deductions do not prove fraud. Here's the case. Carlos Sala invested a large amount in what the IRS said was an illegal tax shelter. It sent a tax bill that he paid, but he then sought a refund of $1.5 million of interest. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.5 million of interest that the IRS could collect only in fraud cases. So this is the IRS's position. The shelter was fraudulent because the deductions it gave were much larger than any amount Sala ever risked losing on his investment in it. So he went to court for some justice, and here's what the judge said. Sala's small risk of loss might make his deductions improper, but fraud requires acts of deceit and concealment from the IRS. Sala had acted openly and even obtained a lawyer's opinion about the shelter's propriety before investing in it. There was no proof of fraud, so the refund absolutely allowed. Remember how much it was? Yeah, $1.5 million. Hello there. Well, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? We talk about this all the time. That's what we call this section inside the IRS. It's very much like the Twilight Zone. Oh yeah, so we've got a couple of good cases here in the Twilight Zone for you, and so I think you're going to really enjoy them. And I just want to remind you that right after our commercial break, we'll be with our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. But right now, let's talk about how do IRS agents determine that you've not reported all of your income. Ever think about that? Well, you know, a common method that the IRS uses is to simply add up all of your deposits in your bank and brokerage accounts during the year. The presumption is that all deposits represent income unless you can establish that the money came from a gift or a loan. Now, a revenue agent will also review credit card and bank loan statements to determine if any payments made during the year to reduce the balance were made from sources other than your bank accounts. Now, here's a trap, though. The agent may want to visit your home to determine if there are new appliances, furniture, and to take a look at your wardrobe. Was unreported cash used to purchase these items? Your safest bet? The IRS must obtain a search warrant, which never happens in a civil case, by the way. Do not give a revenue agent permission to tour your home. Not ever, not ever, not ever. If you do, shame on you. You're looking for trouble. Well, how about this? Tax-exempt organizations and politics. You know, to enjoy the benefit of being a tax-exempt organization, for example, a religious institution or a school, an organization is prohibited from participating in or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office. In reality, tax-exempt organizations have been actively supporting or working against certain politicians. The IRS has been under pressure from Congress to do something about this abuse. However, guidance recently issued in revenue ruling from the IRS explains that voter education is permitted as long as it's not biased. Well, you know what? I guess even churches try to find the loopholes that they can use to get by the separation of church and state. Now, don't go away. We've got a lot of good stuff coming for you. Coming up next, right after these commercial breaks, is going to be our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. I got a lot of questions for him, and I'm sure he's got stuff prepared that we're going to want to comment on too. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, currently 68 degrees in sunny Southern California. And it is sunny in Southern California. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm looking out the studio window and I'm looking up at the snow mountain, the mountains, the snow in the mountains right behind me here. And, waiting in the wings is our own Sean Lefebvre. But, if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, it's 41 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 45 degrees and there's a light rain going on. But you know what? Let's find out what the heck the weather is in Newport Beach. Hey, Sean, do you have any idea?
Yep, it's 67 degrees and sunny blue skies.
Yeah, it is beautiful out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally almost perfect. I love this weather. Love it.
Every once in a while, you have one of those days in Southern California that reminds you why you live in Southern California. It is just drop dead gorgeous out here.
Yeah, fortunately, we have more days than not that remind us of that. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. So listen, my friend, how'd you spend your weekend?
This year I went and I worked for a little bit, and I usually get work done on the weekends. I like working on the weekends. I don't know why, but of course, when you enjoy what you do, it's not a big deal. hung out with my son for a little while, and we didn't really do anything spectacular, but I got to spend some time with him and hung out with some friends, and went to this place in Huntington Beach called Vittorio's, which the name alone, an old Italian name like that, it should tell you something about the place. But it looked like something out of The Godfather. I mean, they still have the high back chairs, with the kind of extravagant, bright red colors and the curtains on the wall. I mean, it really looked like a scene from The Godfather.
I've got to tell you, the very first time I ever went to Dallas, Texas, and I was meeting a business associate there, and he takes me out to dinner, and he says, "Bob, I'm going to take you to the finest Italian restaurant you have ever been to in your entire life." And I'm thinking, yeah, in Dallas, Texas, I'm going to get a good Italian meal. We pull up to this place. It looks a little bit like a hole in the wall. There's this big sign out front that says the Calabrese's Egyptian Restaurant. And I'm thinking, Egyptian restaurant? I thought you said Italian food. He said, "Hey, just stick with me." And we go in this side door and all the way to the back, and we go into this thing, and I have to tell you, it was the best Italian food I've ever had.
The best Italian you ever had was at an Egyptian restaurant in Dallas. All right, well, I like it.
I love unique places like that. You ever been to Sacramento? They used to, I don't know if it's still there anymore in Sacramento, in Old Sac, they used to call it. There's a lot of great restaurants over there. And there's one restaurant called the Firehouse. And I just loved that place. It was an upscale restaurant, but they still had the pole that went from the second floor down, for the firemen. And inside was very rustic and the whole 9 yards, and the best food, I think, that Sacramento had to offer. It was just fantastic.
I've got a couple of friends in this area that are either retired firefighters or married to firefighters, along those kind of. I have to ask them. As a matter of fact, I know someone up in Fresno who is a firefighter, and so I'm going to see him, I think, over Easter time. So I'll have to ask him if he knows about the place. If it's still there, I never heard of it, but it sounds cool.
Oh yeah, it is fantastic place. Fantastic place. Hey, listen, I've got some great news for you, by the way.
Go for it. You sent me, by the way, I want to talk about at least one of those articles you sent me.
Okay. I want to talk about
I'm glad you sent them, but what's the exciting news?
The exciting news is that the World Health Organization just declared that there is more Zika virus being transmitted by sexual activity than by mosquitoes.
Well, then they should stop having sex with mosquitoes. And the problem solved, I guess, right?
So I thought that was good.
2 birds with one stone, and boom, you're done.
Yeah.
0 chance of getting there.
So I thought that was a cool deal. So listen, did you heard about? There's this lady the very first lady in the United States who had a womb transplant, and she did a press release and is talking about how absolutely grateful she is and thrilled she is for the chance to actually possibly bear a child. So that's got to be a minor miracle of sorts, right?
That's I didn't even know you could do a womb transplant. I guess, I don't know, maybe you can transplant. Well, heck, we talked about a few months ago, they're going to do a head transplant or a body transplant, however you want to look at it. So I guess you could do a womb. I didn't even know that was something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of these transplants, you got to have to scratch your head and you wonder about them. Mickey Mantle was an old guy and he wound up getting 2 livers, and I'm not sure how many people who really needed those livers that didn't drink and didn't have problems would have probably survived had Mickey Mantle not gotten his 2 liver transplants, and he still didn't survive. So you gotta wonder about these transplants and the efficacy with which the medical society doles these things out. Supposedly, they're supposed to have a good system. I've got my doubts about it. I think in terms now, after having had a number of conversations with you, I think in terms that the medical society is very much like the political society. They tell you one thing and they do something else.
Oh, of course, yeah. Mickey Mantle, if he was a average Joe working a blue collar job and nobody knew who he was or anything like that, he wouldn't get 2 livers. He might get 1. He's certainly not going to get 2. That's supposed to be one of those things that exempts you from being able to get a liver transplant is if you are a heavy alcoholic.
I hate to say it because I say it because I was a big fan of Mickey Mantle. I remember going to a game and watching Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Yogi Berra, all these guys. And I was just a kid, right? I was in the 8th grade or something like that, and it was just thrilling to watch them. But then, behind the scenes, you think in terms of Mickey Mantle, even though he's an icon for baseball, he was really abusing himself and not really the kind of guy drinking wise that you want your kids to be looking up to. And because of his drinking, he had cirrhosis, and he wound up creating that problem in 2 livers or 3 livers, I should say. Anyway,
3, yeah.
Let's get away. Yeah, because there's an original liver and then the 2 transplants. So he never did stop drinking. But here's the thing I'm finding interesting. You and I had this conversation not that long ago about BMI, the body mass index, and there was an article I sent you. I don't know if you had a chance to read it.
Yep.
Why bathroom scales don't really tell the whole story. In that I was surprised, since I moved and I've got access to this full gym, and that I love to walk anyway. So I, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I work out for an hour and a half in the gym, and then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I walk for 5 miles. Well, it turns out, I'm thinking I should be losing weight, but I actually gained some weight. But, and I was a little disappointed about it until I realized that muscle actually weighs more than fat. And then I read this article that I sent to you, and it's throwing dispersions on the BMI index, the body mass index, in that the fact that you can have a higher number because it's based on your weight and your height. And if muscle weighs more than fat, then you get a false reading, right?
Yeah. So I tell people all the time, stay off the scale. If you want to use the scale, that's fine, but don't make that your main indicator of how you're doing. And it's so funny. I would get people. I use a machine that I absolutely love. It's called there's a brand called the Tanita is the brand, but it's just a body composition machine is what it really is. And it's got a couple of plates. It's like a platform. It looks like a scale, like a weight scale, but you stand on it, and it's got a couple of little metal plates that you stand on with your bare feet, and then it's got a couple of little pistol grip looking things that you hold onto with your hands, and it runs a low level current through your body, and it's able to take that current, and by how efficiently
this does not sound pleasant to me.
No, you don't feel anything. You're just standing. You don't feel a thing. Like I said, it's a very low level current. It's nothing you can't feel it at all. Yeah, there's not even a tingle. It's nothing. And by how that current runs through your body, they can tell you exactly not only your weight, but what your percentage of body fat, your percentage of lean mass, and your percentage of water mass. And it also breaks it down into each individual leg, each individual arm, and your trunk.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This thing is more accurate than the water submersion, where they dunk you in a tank. And, it's more accurate than that. It's the most accurate way to test your body composition.
Well, that's fascinating.
So I would tell people don't really focus on the weight so much. And I would get, someone, would be on let's say a weight loss program, and a month later she'd come back in and go, I don't think this is really working because I've been weighing myself and I've only lost 4 pounds in a month. And that's ridiculous. I should have lost more than 4 pounds in a month.
And that's because the fat's being replaced with heavier muscle, right?
Right. And so, exactly, and that's part of it. But the other part is most people walk around in pretty much a chronic state of dehydration, low-level dehydration. So, you're supposed to be about 2/3 water. A lot of people, I'll get people walking, they'll get on a machine and they're like 50% water or 55% water. It's like, look, you're really dehydrated. You need to hold more water in your cells. That's part of your problem right there. And so what'll happen is they'll come back a month later and they go, I lost 4 pounds and this isn't working. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. This just isn't working. I go, well, come on, let's get on the Tanita and we'll take the measurements. And sure enough, they've lost, 16 pounds of fats, but they gained 6 pounds of or like 8 pounds of water, and 4 pounds of lean mass because they've been working out. They were sedentary before, something along those lines. So point is, they gained lean mass. They've got more hydrated, which is what they needed, which is going to add, it's 8 pounds a gallon for water. So they're going to need to have more water. And so they got that, and they've lost body fat. And I'll say, see, look, you're doing great. You haven't lost much weight, but you've actually lost like 12 pounds of fat, but you gained lean mass, and now you're more hydrated, so your body is actually healthier.
So we have to take a break, but when we come back, can you explain to me, and don't do it now, but I want you to explain to me, if heavy fat on you is hard on your heart, if muscle weighs more, is that hard on your heart too? And you can answer that when we come back from these brief messages. Do not go away. We're talking to Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be right back. You don't want to miss this. We got good stuff for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. I don't know. I'm laughing, John, because the last time I said that, Sean says, I don't understand why this guy's still alive. Stands in the middle of the street. He never gets hit, right? Anyway, I want you to know that at 3:50 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 68 degrees. It's still what it was last time in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's going to on its way down to 47 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated network, global network, and you happen to be in London, England, it's 46 degrees with rain showers, which happens a lot in London. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 34 degrees and partly cloudy. Now, folks, in case you don't know it, that's cold. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness corner. Sean, when we left, I was asking, they talk about weight being hard on the heart. And of course, we know that the heart is a muscle that's there. But if weight's hard on the heart, if you're replacing fat with muscle that's even heavier than fat, is that also hard on the heart too?
No, not typically. I mean, it's, if you get someone who's doing steroids and they're, growing beyond their natural genetic ability, then certainly that's going to have an effect. But our body is only going to allow itself to grow so much muscle. You see these guys that are just these huge, bodybuilders and football players. It's very unnatural. And anyone who thinks they aren't on steroids is just, fooling themselves. But the average person, you really can't grow enough muscle for it to be hard on your heart. And plus, because it's heavier, a pound of muscle takes up less space than a pound of fat. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have less blood vessels to push blood through. And really, having a more muscular body tends to be good for your metabolism. Your body actually runs more efficiently. So yeah, getting lean and replacing fat with muscle is always a good thing. Unless it's done unnaturally.
Where are the blood vessels? Are the blood vessels in the fat, or are they in the muscle?
You got me on that one. I want to say they run through the muscle and the fat. They run through they pretty much run through every part of your body except the bones, of course, all the soft tissue. They're not going to run through tendons and those kind of things. But you know what? I have never actually even thought about that question. But I'm 99% certain that they run through the muscle as well as through the fat. I mean, you can even see them on the surface of your skin.
Oh yeah.
You've got the capillaries, and you've got arteries, and all these different types of blood vessels, and they run through various parts of the body. So yeah, I'm going to go with my confidence level here and say that the blood vessels do in fact run through both the muscle and the.
It's sort of the answer. The answer is sort of like, can a bear do something in the woods? And yeah, any bear can do anything he wants, right? And I'm guessing that that's the same thing with blood vessels. Can it exist in the fat and the muscle under the skin? And I suppose, yeah, it can anywhere. Hey, listen, I saw something else in the news today, and then I know you've got things you want to talk about, but I know we've got plenty of time. I just wanted to get your idea on this, and I don't think I sent this one to you. The FDA today settled with a drug maker in fish oil drug marketing case. And it says the maker of a prescription fish oil drug says it has reached a legal settlement that will allow it to promote unapproved uses of its drug for lowering fat levels. And that was a case with the FDA. What do you think about the drug companies actually promoting their products for things that they weren't intended for?
I think it should be illegal unless they've done studies to prove that it's safe for that. Or that it's even effective for that. Of course, a really popular drug out there right now is Viagra, which was not designed for erectile dysfunction. Mm-hmm. It was designed for heart health, and they just, one of the side effects of it was got rid of erectile dysfunction. Yeah. So you were talking this drug, and you used the word fish oil. Are they actually making this drug out of
Yeah. It's and let me go a little bit farther and help you out with this thing. It says the maker of a prescription fish oil drug says it has reached a legal settlement that will allow it to promote unapproved uses of its drug for lowering fat levels. Now, the closely watched case between Amarin and the Food and Drug Administration could strengthen the drug industry's hand in the ongoing debate over promoting drugs for uses that have not been declared safe and effective by regulators. But the FDA said today the settlement is specific to this particular case and situation and did not mark a new legal precedent on this thing. And so that's what this thing says.
Well, anytime you make a law that can be applied to other similar situations, it does set a legal precedence. They may say that, this ruling is just for this one drug, which it's really weird to think of a drug made from fish oil. I guess drugs can be made from all kinds of stuff, but it must be some sort of fish oil derivative somehow that they can, because you can't really patent fish oil, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's really weird. But for it to be approved, or for, I guess, to legally be allowed to advertise and promote the use of a drug for unapproved uses, to me seems like it would be a major violation, and I can't imagine that why they would allow that, other than with the going back to what you and I always talk about, because somebody's pocket is getting fattened out of it. There's just that doesn't make any sense at all. Why you would have? I mean, that's. We've seen drug makers get cracked down on for doing that very thing before.
Yeah, I mean,
so haven't
they actually? You know what? Here's the thing. It would be interesting to know, because I don't know the answer to this, and if you do, go ahead and give it to me. I'm not aware of a case where, because these drug manufacturers are bigger companies, I'm not aware of a case where they've received anything but a fine for an indiscretion. Nobody ever goes to jail, do they? Matter of fact, there was a huge case in China where I can't remember if it was GlaxoSmithKline or something, was fined in the hundreds of millions, I believe it was, and all they did was just take the executives of the company that were in China, and they just sent them back to England, and they didn't even put them in jail. They should have. But and there was a case that was just settled here recently here in the United States, the same thing. And when I read the article, I didn't hear anything about jail time at all. They're just getting massive fines. I mean, these fines are like tens to hundreds of millions of dollars. Billions of dollars that they're paying out. Mm-hmm. It dumbfounds me that we continue getting these crooked pharmaceutical companies are getting caught doing these things, and all we're doing is fining them, and of course they're just going to pass that on to the consumer. Well, yeah, but what's really disturbing to me, Sean, is that the drug companies get a slap on a wrist. They get some mediocre fine that is a nothing fine compared to the profits that they're making. And yet, if you or I commit any kind of an indiscretion, they might throw us in jail and throw away the key.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the little guy is always, going to get, even for white collar crimes, you're going to see, you might spend time in a nice jail, but you're still going to be in jail. And I don't understand why these executives of these major pharmaceutical companies seem to be exempt from almost any type of prosecution. I was listening, and not to get political here, but, Hillary Clinton was talking about these gun makers, and she says they are the only industry that is exempt from any type of prosecution. And she's, like the gun manufacturer should be responsible for someone getting shot. And I'm listening to her. I'm going, the only reason she's saying that is because she works, indirectly for the pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. They are, not only are they exempt, not only are they exempt in the good old boy network part of it, but they're legally exempt. The vaccines are completely, anyone who produces a vaccine 100% exempt from any type of prosecution. They don't pay fines. There's no, Monsanto even got protection from Barack Obama.
Well, you know what, we have to go on another break. But you know what? But it's interesting that you say this, and I want to talk about it some more when we come back, because you know what? Why is it? Matter of fact, we'll talk about it when we come back. Why is it that they make an issue of the gun manufacturers being liable because they made a gun that somebody else used to commit a crime, and they want to do that, but they don't want to make the drug companies liable for the same kind of a deal. We're going to talk to you more about that, and I want to talk to you also about a French trial that opened today with a dentist accused of mutilating patients. So we'll talk about both of those things to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We got good stuff for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. But before we do that, I want you to know that if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 34 degrees and clear. In Madrid, Spain, which I happen to know Sean likes a lot, 37 degrees and clear. Both of those places, by the way, Sean, that's cold. Now, let's talk about, you're talking about what Hillary Clinton said about the gun manufacturers not being liable for manufacturing the guns and the damage that is being done with those guns. But they're not talking about the drug companies that have the same deal. Why do you suppose that is? Other than, I understand why Hillary Clinton's not talking about it. I'm not so sure I understand why the Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump or anybody else is talking about it.
Well, Bernie Sanders, I think, is pretty pro, medicine, pro-vaccine, and matter of fact, almost the only politician out there who I know of that says, hey, we need to take a step back on what we're doing with vaccines specifically is Donald Trump, and it's probably one of the reasons why
he said that. But so didn't Ben Carson say that too? And he's a neurosurgeon.
No, Ben Carson was pro. At least from what I remember reading, he was pro mandatory vaccine. Unless I got some wrong information.
Oh.
I know Ted Cruz is pro vaccine, but he wants it to be regulated at the state level, not at the federal level. Which is, at least it's a step. It's helpful, but it's still not. I mean, every state right now is not every state. Actually, so there was one state that I just heard about that was I caught a glimpse of it. I forgot to go back and look at it. I was looking at actually stopping it from being able to be mandated or something anyway. But the reason why these pharmaceutical companies are given so much protection is because they consider, especially the vaccination program, to be for the greater good. And you don't want to, and this is their logic. This is not me talking for sure.
Right.
This is just their logic. But, the last thing you want to do is if you have a company that's doing something that's benefiting 99.9% of the people, but the 0.1% that it kills or maims or, damages for life or whatever.
It's collateral. It's collateral.
Try to, yeah.
It's collateral damage. Right?
Damage. Yeah. So they're saying, they should be exempt from being sued or punished or, whatever the case might be for any harm that's brought about to people. And we know that vaccines do bring harm because we paid out for it.
But Sean, for those of us that believe in vaccinations done in a proper and moderate way, that would be an acceptable theory. But for those of you who do not, then you know what? If you don't believe in what they're actually saying about this, then that's not acceptable. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it should probably not be acceptable to even people who do believe. Maybe there should be some level of acceptance. That's fine. Maybe there should be some level of protection, and that's fine too. But to give them blanket immunity, I guess, for lack of a better word, blanket exemption from prosecution, really opens up this door that allows them to, what's to stop them from pushing so much out on the market. We don't know.
I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the drug, but there was a drug that people were taking, and gosh, I wish I could remember the name of it. But you'll probably know what it is when I describe this. And it turned out that it was causing irreversible congestive heart failure. Do you remember?
Oh,
it was a diet.
Yeah,
thing.
It was a weight loss pill. I can't think of the name of it either. Yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't think of the name of it.
I had a good friend who actually succumbed to that. She actually was sitting in an IHOP restaurant with her husband having breakfast, and that's when it finally took her. But she had already been diagnosed with congestive heart failure as a result of taking these diet pills. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called either, but they took out the market probably 15 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. What are the chances? I mean, really, doesn't a drug company really do very thorough tests? What are the chances of them not knowing that there were going to be these cases of congestive heart failure or even other worse catastrophic issues?
I would guess that they probably have more knowledge than we believe they do.
Yeah, I'm leading into the case that is probably a profit conspiracy.
Well, we know that, and I can't remember if I know that I talked about this on our show, but this is like maybe a year or more ago, so I don't feel bad bringing it up again. But first, we know the drug Vioxx, which was a painkiller, was killing people, killed so many people that they finally took it off the market. And but I can't remember who the manufacturing company is that did Vioxx, but they did a study that compared Vioxx to oh my gosh, it was, I think it was maybe Aleve, I think was the drug. And anyway, what they found was like Aleve had any type of, NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, is going to have an increased risk of heart attack. All of them do, even Advil and whatever, Motrin, all those, over-the-counter ones. What they found was that I think it was Aleve. I could be wrong, and it's not really important. That's not important to the story. The Aleve had about a 1.5 times increase in heart attacks for people who were taking this medication. Well, they studied that against Vioxx. Vioxx had a 6 times increase in heart attacks. 6 times. You were 6 times more likely to have a heart attack. Well, what did the drug companies come out and do? They said that compared to other leading non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, Aleve gives you a 4 times less chance of having a heart attack.
Oh, well, you know what? Do you remember? You remember who Don Drysdale is, right? Or was Don Drysdale he was a pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then
I knew the name, but I couldn't figure out why. That's why I'm not a sports guy. So
yeah, and then he started doing television color, to announcing and stuff like that, and I believe he was in Chicago, and I guess he had this horrible headache, and on the plane he kept popping Motrins, and he kept popping them, and then when he got to the hotel, went out and he had a few drinks. The mixture of the Motrin and the alcohol killed him. So I'm thinking, Motrin is an over-the-counter drug, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but you can still take too much of it. I mean, you can overdose on any kind of drug, even aspirin.
Well, but unless I'm mistaken, I thought it was the mixture of the Motrin with the alcohol.
And it's something. Alcohol will exacerbate a lot of drugs. There's certain drugs they tell you don't drink at all when you're on this stuff, even if you're taking it in a proper dosage. But if you're taking Motrin and you're taking too much of it, it's gonna affect your system. And then all of a sudden, now you take alcohol, which is a depressant, it's gonna slow everything down. Boom. Yeah, I can see how his heart could just stop. It's not. It's a bad combination. So there's no drug out there that is 100% safe. There's not a single one out there. So they say it's safe for this and it's safe for this type of use. But the fact is, you talk to anyone who does kidney dialysis for a living, and they'll tell you their number one customers are people who are chronically on things like Advil.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. People who take Advil for years on end tend to usually have kidneys that shut down.
So that destroys. So the alcohol does what alcohol does to your liver. Advil does to your kidneys.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And Tylenol, acetaminophen will trash your liver too. There's still ongoing class action lawsuits against makers of acetaminophen because it's destroying people's livers.
Wow.
Acetaminophen. It's Tylenol. I can't think of the other brand names out there, but there's a few of them out there that have acetaminophen in them. But it could be literally an over-the-counter drug that's taken according to the bottle. But if you take it, 2 pills 3 times a day, but if you take it for years on end, it can actually destroy your liver. Or, in the case of kidneys, the kidney is very involved with your blood pressure. So now you've got your kidneys being overtasked because you're taking ibuprofen, and then you go out and you have too much to drink, which we know alcohol is a suppressant, or depressant, and then it also affects your blood pressure. Now you got 2 things that are, working in synergy together, and they compound one another, and all of a sudden, boom, your body can't keep up with the strain, and you have a heart attack and die. Things just shut down.
So let me ask you that because you're talking about the kidneys, and it's a scary thought. And I'm going to use myself as an example here. I love water. I just love water, and I'll bet you I drink a minimum of a gallon of water a day throughout the entire day. Is that bad for me? Because it's, as an old guy, I don't get too far away from a bathroom.
No, it's not bad for you at all. The only thing that you need to be mindful of is that when you drink a lot of water, especially if you're sweating a lot. I don't know if you.
I don't sweat a lot.
Okay, you're lucky. I'm one of these people that literally I can take one bite of something spicy and I just start dripping. I sweat a lot. I'm just one of those people that's always been that way. It's hot outside, I'm sweating.
Well, I might if I ate a spice, something really hot and spicy, I might perspire. But what I mean is that during the day, just going around, walking around, even when I go for my 5-mile walk, it isn't until toward the end of it that I start perspiring.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See, if I went for a walk, anything more than just a casual stroll, if I was trying to be like, get a little power walk in, where I'm doing, more than 3 miles an hour, I'm going to start sweating I'm going to be sweating within a couple minutes. Yeah. That's just the way I am. And so people especially who sweat a lot, but when you drink a lot of water, the thing to be mindful of is that you make sure that you have proper minerals in your body as well, that you're not washing out your electrolytes, because you can get a condition, they call it overhydration, but it's not really overhydration. It's actually a loss of minerals and electrolytes. It's called hyponatremia, and it kills. I don't know how many people, like maybe like a couple thousand people a year, I think, or something like that, die from it. And basically what it is you have so much water in your system that it's flushing out all of your electrolytes, and you need those minerals of calcium, potassium, sodium. You need all that stuff for your electrical system to work. And what happens is literally your body will shut down, and it will stop, where your electrical system just crashes and everything shuts down. You have a massive heart attack and you die.
So let me ask you another question, because I can remember you saying in the past, and I hate to keep throwing back stuff that you've said, but that's what kind of triggers my mind. And I've heard you say in the past that when your body is lacking something, you start craving it. And I'm thinking in terms of, you were saying something that it could denude your body of potassium, but if you start craving bananas, is that a sign that maybe you're drinking too much water? I mean, and by the way, I'm not, but
Yeah, very much so. Your body knows what foods have what nutrients in it from having eaten them before. Mm-hmm. And so if you need potassium, your body might crave, a potato or a banana or, something else, green leafy vegetable or something, and you might have a craving for something to replace that. Now, the body's pretty smart. It's just a lot of people have a hard time listening to it. But
quite a machine, isn't it?
It is. It's an amazing machine.
So listen, we've got 3 minutes before we have to take a break, and I promise I'm going to let you, when we come back, talk about anything you want. But right now, I just want to mention to you this fact about this French trial that opened today. A dentist who was accused of mutilating patients, a Dutchman dubbed the horror dentist by French media, went on trial today facing charges of intentional violence and fraud. Dentist Jacobus van Nierop could be sentenced to 10 years in prison and fined $413,000 if convicted. More than 50 victims are also seeking damages. Scores of people came forward with complaints ranging from multiple healthy teeth removed, pieces of tools left in teeth, abscesses, recurrent infections, and misshapen mouths between the year 2009 and 2013. Isn't this the kind of guy that should be thrown behind bars and the key thrown away?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I got a much quicker and simpler solution, but a guy like that shouldn't be allowed to walk the face of the planet. It's like that. I was having this conversation yesterday with someone about this similar type thing. That doctor up in, I think it was Michigan last year, that was convicted of intentionally misdiagnosing people with cancer and then treating them for cancer with chemo and radiation, and some of them actually died. Chemo and radiation is terrible. It's so hard on your body. And so, for this guy to be pulling, good teeth out of people's mouths, or, how do you leave a tool inside of someone? But, sorry, that's crazy. But, for people, physicians to do stuff like that, they should not only not be allowed to practice ever again, but, I don't think they should be allowed to walk around the public, because if they get their jollies off of doing that in a professional way for money, what's to stop them from now doing it in another method, to be that's basically a person who is a predator, but what you don't realize is you're walking right up to their trap and you're paying them to be their victim. So people like that shouldn't even be allowed to walk on the face of the planet. But it's terrible. But I was actually just having this conversation. I've got a client that I started working with who has cancer. She's been treating it naturally, and it's been shrinking. And so she called me up and said, "Hey, I need some help with a couple of things." And so I'm helping her with some other issues that she has. But we were talking about that. There's an article in the Journal of American Medical Association, and what they're saying is that the article it's titled something like the overdiagnosis and overtreatment of cancer, subtitle an opportunity for improvement is the subtitle. And I'm thinking, an opportunity for improvement, you want to put a positive spin on something that you literally, what this article is saying is that we're diagnosing people with cancer who don't even have cancer.
Yeah. It's malpractice, right?
Yeah, and some of these who actually do have cancer, it's like, stage 0. It's so low level cancer, and if they had never gone to the doctor, it probably would have cleared up on its own. It would have never grown. It would have never, spread. It would have never metastasized. It would have been, it would just gone away. And what they're saying is we've gotten very good, supposedly, at early detection, even though we're discovering that a lot of this early detection is stuff that maybe is a lump that we think is cancer, but it's not really cancer. But what we're finding is we have not changed the amount of people who are dying from cancer. Still, the late stage cancer deaths are just the same. They have not prevented those.
Okay, so listen, we've got to take a break. When we come back, you can finish that thought, or you talk about anything you want. We've got until let's see here. It's 20 minutes after the hour right now, and we've got until 37 minutes after the hour. So we got to go on a break. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. And I have no idea what he's going to talk about, but I can guarantee you this: you don't want to miss it. It'll be interesting. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And Sean, you absolutely have the microphone. I've been promising this to you for weeks now. I keep interrupting you. I'm going to actually let you talk unless accidentally. I wouldn't do it on purpose. You say something that makes me have to ask you a question.
I'll try not to be too interesting. And I don't know that you can honestly say it's been weeks. I would probably say more like months. But
well, most of the time I only interrupt you just so you can take a breath.
By the way, my personal assistant, when I'm on the radio show anyway, and partner in crime, Sally, let me know so I could pass on to you. It is Fen was that drug.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes, Sally. Thank you so much.
Yep. So, I spend a lot of time trying to really get people to think differently about their health. When I'm getting a prospect client, or when somebody says, how do I do this? How do I lose weight? Just like the example of we were talking about, using body composition instead of weight. It's okay. Matter of fact, I did a weight loss competition a few years ago, and we actually gave the first prize got $1,000, and second place got $500, and I think $250 to third or something like that. And the guy, it was a female, a woman that won first place, and another woman that won third place. But it was a guy who won second place. He actually gained 2 pounds and got second place because he lost so much fat, and his body, you could see the difference. He had to go out and buy new jeans, the whole bit. He lost. We did everything from body fat, water, lean mass, all that, and we also did measurements. We took, of course, weight, and we measured waist and all these different things, and we kind of did a compilation of okay, let's factor everything in, not just weight. I don't want to, give someone a prize just for losing weight, because you can go out and starve yourself to death and get dehydrated and lose weight quickly. So we didn't want that, and so the whole thing was, it got people thinking differently about their health. That simply losing weight is not. I can go cut my arm off and lose weight. I can lose 20 pounds in a matter of minutes if I really want to, but it's not a very effective weight loss regimen. You can only keep that up for so long, and so it's really all about let's think differently about how we approach health. And one of the things that you sent that I found fascinating was that physician up in Canada who has the vibration therapy office, where she uses and I watched most of that. It was a pretty long video, and I watched most of it. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got the gist of what she's saying. But she uses vibration from music for healing, and she talks about how certain your body vibrates below a certain frequency, you start to get sick, and if that frequency drops too low, then you can even expect to get cancer. And when people think about the Beach Boys sing about that, that's a good. I'm picking up some good vibrations. I got some good vibrations. Even the Beach Boys sing about it. So this is nothing new, but when you start talking about things like, we gotta, vibrate on this frequency, man, and just let yourself, people think that now all of a sudden you gotta be a hippie and wear beads and, walk around in sandals and eat granola all day long. And it's like, no, this is actually science. We know that our body, everything in the world, has a frequency that it vibrates on. And in fact,
that's interesting. You remember Angelica Wagner, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the premise of what she does for brain healing is frequencies and vibrations.
Yeah, that's exactly what she does. Yeah, and it's effective. I can remember I was having this discussion with someone, and they were just, it was a Christian couple, and I know that people who in the Christian community tend to reject energy science or energy healing in a big way, because they do think that it's you're tapping into this I'm like being one with the universe, and that you have to all of a sudden reject God in order for this to. So these people were very vehemently against the type of health practice that I had, and it was while I was flying with the Air Force, while I was in the reserves, and I was doing my in-flight refueling, and I'm back in the back of the airplane, and I'm waiting for this airplane to come up so I can give him his gas. And I have these gauges in front of me. It's old school gauges. We don't have the big, glass, panels like they do now, with like this where the screen just pops up on a monitor. But so we had the old round dials, and it was kind of dusty. So I'm back there, I'm kind of bored. So I would wipe the dust off of it. And as soon as my finger touched that dial, I was on the glass on the top of it, not where the wires and stuff were in the back. As soon as my finger touched it, the needle moved. It jumped. And so I did it again. And every time I would touch it or swipe it or whatever, the needle would jump. And it was funny that the timing of that worked out so well for me. Is like, this is exactly what I'm trying to get across to these people, is that we are electrical beings. We have an electric current that runs through us. I could actually take a person, I can take a guy who's a powerlifter, super strong, and I can just by stroking around like his arm and reversing the flow of energy temporarily, can make him go as weak as a noodle.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how you can really manipulate a person's energy field around their body, and it will affect their strength. It's pretty fascinating. And so when I saw that, that you sent me that about the woman where she uses like that, some sort of looks like a kind of a guitar without the neck, where she I don't know if it's a harp or whatever it is. That she puts it on the person, and she vibrates the strings, or she plucks the strings and makes these different vibrations to bring healing to and it does. It gets rid of pain. It increases circulation.
Is that kind of how acupuncture works also?
Yeah, and that's exactly what acupuncture. Acupuncture actually stimulates. There are specific meridians. There are acupuncture points. And you can't just stick a needle anywhere. I guess you could. It'll probably do something. But when they're done in a very specific way, what it does is it channels your body's energy into a specific meridian, into a specific path for healing. And so you can affect, you can literally, I've had this before where I had a knee where I jacked up my knee and went and got, must have been 20 needles in my leg, but the pain was completely gone. I mean, it completely stopped the pain. It was unbelievable. And so you can use that for heart health. You can use acupuncture for, pretty much anything when it comes to healing the body. It's acupuncture because it does allow our body to utilize the electrical power, the vibration, the frequency within us in a more efficient manner. And so that leads to that healing. And even I've used, there's platforms you can go buy. I think we've talked about, remember we talked about that with bone health, where they have those platforms down and they vibrate, and but they do. The certain frequencies they find are beneficial for different types of healing, whether it's bone health or stimulating the lymphatic system, or getting your general overall cells healing at the cellular level. So you can stand on a vibrating platform, and all you're doing is your body's just sitting there vibrating. It usually tickles your nose. It's really funny, but it's funny to watch people who have never been on one before because they're constantly rubbing their nose because it tickles really bad. It's pretty fun to watch.
So let me ask you. So if you get into one of these vibrating chairs, that you see, does that actually? Is there a chance that actually can help you as opposed to just relaxing your muscles?
Oh yeah. There's a ton of benefits to those vibrating chairs. The thing to remember is if you're whether you're standing or sitting, or whether whatever platform you're using, make sure that you're using good posture, because it will actually relax the soft tissue around your spine. And what'll happen is if you're in a like a slumped over position, you're not standing up straight, or you're kind of slouching as you're sitting, your spine will kind of relax in that position, and then it will firm back up into that position, and you want to avoid that. So if you're doing any type of vibration therapy on a standing platform or chair, just make sure you have good posture. Matter of fact, there's a device that some chiropractors use. I've never seen it in a medical doctor's office, and it looks like they call it a drum, but it looks like a roll, like you would put underneath your low back or underneath your neck. Like, you know what a neck pillow looks like, right? They're just like a tube. Well, what it does is it's got a mechanism inside of it. It's got a motor attached, a cable that is attached to it, and then there's a counterweight inside the drum itself. And so while you're laying on it, it rotates inside at 4.5 hertz. And so again, a very low, it's still vibration, but a very low vibration. And this what this does is it speeds up the restructuring of your spine for people who have lost curvature in their spine. It can help with scoliosis patients or those types of things. What it does is it literally relaxes that 4.5 hertz. Is what it relaxes all of that soft tissue and lets that spine relax and fall back into its normal position. You do that for about 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes. And how they even discovered that was truckers have actually seen chiropractors in truck stops. Because truckers have such chronic back problems, they actually have a name. It's actually called trucker's back. And they're sitting there. They're not sitting straight up. Like their grandma's at the dinner table with them. Smacking them under the table with a stick. They're slouched over. And what they found was that frequency of them going down the road for whatever reason, just the combination of the motor and the road and the tires and all this stuff, is it creates about a 4.5 hertz frequency, and so truckers get a very quick onset of back problems because of that relaxation caused by the frequency of driving. And so they're actually building trucks nowadays with insulators built in, so the cab doesn't absorb all that vibration. The cab doesn't vibrate near as much as the rest of the truck does.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so there's I guess the whole point of that long rambling about vibration and vibration therapy is it certainly works and it's very effective, but really is to understand, think outside of what we're doing. We have to, as a country, start thinking differently because we're getting sicker, we're getting fatter, we're getting weaker, we've got more chronic problems than ever before. We've got problems.
Speak for yourself, Sean Lefebvre.
Yeah, well. Okay, me, I have all those problems, but that's because I eat McDonald's all the time. And think about that vibration. Like even the herbs that I use from Systemic Formulas. I work with a company called Systemic Formulas. They do herbal blends, and it was started by a guy named Doc Wheelwright, and he was one of these guys that would travel the globe looking for different herbs. He would go to South America or to Africa or to Europe or different parts of Asia or whatever, and he would go find these remote villages where they still lived, a little bit more primitively, and he would find the medicine man or whoever the local healing man was and say, hey, when someone gets sick, what do you do for him? And he'd say, oh, well, I'll show you. I use this root or I use this plant or this leaf or whatever. And so he would harvest those and he would study them, and what he found was he could make certain blends that he could recreate the frequency of your liver. And so you would take this blend of herbs, and it would create a frequency in your body to match your liver. And so this stuff would go and it would help heal your liver. And then he would make another one that vibrates at the same frequency as your spleen. So even though we have a frequency as a human being, we also have, each individual part of us has a different frequency that can be addressed as well.
And is it different for different people?
No. Your liver should vibrate at the same frequency as my liver, okay. and male, female, doesn't matter. Everyone's specific body parts has an energetic structure to it that should be the same.
Okay, you got 55 seconds to do a wrap and tell us what we're going to talk about on Thursday, or is it going to be a surprise?
Are we done for the day? This is it? Man, I thought we had one more break.
No,
right,
no.
I'll just wrap up with saying, anytime, and remember, drugs, they screw up the frequency. No one ever had a pharmaceutical deficiency. That's not, so that's, again, that goes back to, let's think differently about what we're doing. And next week, I guess, Thursday.
No, Thursday, not next week, Thursday.
Not next week, this coming Thursday. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I got a really cool article that I'd love to talk about. It won't take very long, but it's about making sausage from baby poop. So
wait a minute. Whoa.
I love that I can actually say that.
That is repulsive. Even Sally is going to call you after the show and say, what in the hell is the matter with you, Sean? Good God Almighty! The next time you bring Sally over for dinner, I'm going to fix her a filet Oscar, and I'm going to fix her some nice scallops, and I'm going to fix you some sausage made with dog poop.
Baby poop. Baby poop.
Okay, yeah. So I'll have to go a little farther to find that, but I'll take care of it.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that Thursday. Robert, I had a great time.
Hey, I did too. And boy, it just flies by when I'm with you. I hope that you'll go out, stay safe, stay happy, make everybody around you happy. That's exactly what you do. And Sally, thank you for the fin information. And the rest of you folks, stick around. Don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And I'll give you all of that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 66 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 49 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's currently 52 degrees with light rain. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, 84 degrees and it's partly cloudy. You know what? It's time for us to give you the Harvard business tip of the day. And the tip today is keep a journal to keep a journal to become a better leader. And I'm going to tell you, this is just as important as you can make it. The best leaders take time to reflect. One of the easiest ways to do this is to keep a journal. Set aside some time each day, preferably the same time each day, and find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Keep that time carefully guarded on your calendar as an appointment with yourself. Then write whatever comes to mind. Now, a journal's blank pages invite you to hold an honest conversation with yourself. Give yourself permission to follow your stream of consciousness without judging, censoring, or trying to direct where your thoughts might take you. And don't share your journal with anyone else. Your reflections are yours. They bring you what all the world's experts, advisors, and executive coaches combined can't offer you: your own unique perspective. That is a great tip. Well, it's time for the secret daily teaching for your life. I say this every day. It's all about a positive mental attitude. You really are in control of whether you're happy, you're sad, you're successful, or you're a failure, you're rich or you're poor. People around you are happy too. You know what? You get to make those determinations. It's all about a positive mental attitude. If you're positive that you're going to have a miserable day, guess what? You're going to get what you're looking for. So here's the secret for today. If I can't afford it, have passed your lips, your power to change that is right now. For the next 30 days, make it your intention that you are going to look at everything you like and say to yourself, I can afford that. I can buy that. As you see your dream car drive past, say, I can afford that. As you see clothes that you love, as you think about a great vacation, say, I can afford that. As you do this, you'll begin to shift yourself and you will begin to feel better about money. You'll begin to convince yourself that you can afford those things, and as you do, the pictures of your life will change. Remember, it's a positive mental attitude. That is what it is all about. Well, you know what today is. I do, you do, everybody does. Today is Tuesday, March the 8th, and by golly, it's somebody's birthday. And we've got some great birthdays for today. Here's a fellow that was born in 1927, a pianist and composer best known for his versatility with jazz piano styles. Happy birthday, Dick Hyman. And here's somebody, well, you know what? Maybe not everybody knows him, but a lot of people are going to remember him. He was born in 1976. An actor rose to fame during the late 1990s and early 2000s after starring in several Hollywood films aimed at teenage audiences. Happy birthday, Freddie Prinze Jr. And here's one for you. Born 1982, tattoo artist and TV star. She's best known for her work as a featured tattoo artist on Miami Ink. Happy birthday, Kat Von D. Yes, sirree. Well, what happened today in history? On March the 8th, 1930, Mahatma Gandhi starts a civil disobedience in India. You know, not that long ago, if you think about it. And in 1971, Joe Frazier becomes the undisputed world heavyweight boxing champion by winning a unanimous 15-round decision over Muhammad Ali at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And then finally, in 1979, Philips demonstrates the compact disc publicly for the first time. CDs, yeah. Well, our quote for today comes from Lawana Blackwell. And Lawana says, patterning your life around others' opinions is nothing more than slavery. Now that, my friends, is a profound statement and something for you to remember. Think about it. Well, it's time for those interesting but useless facts. We've got plenty of them. I never seem to run out of them. So let me give you some here. Did you know that you use 72 different muscles while speaking? So, if anybody calls you lazy and you speak, tell them can't be. I'm using 72 muscles. How about this? Hartford, Connecticut has made it illegal to educate dogs. Give that some thought. And did you know that the full Spanish name of the city of Los Angeles is El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles de la Porciuncula. Boy, and I know that I have butchered that, and I'm sorry I've done it, but translated it means the town of Our Lady, the Queen of the Angels of the Little Portion. Yeah. Well, I can say it better in English. Goes to show you I'm not Spanish. I should practice that so I don't butcher these things. Did you know that the fear of knees or kneeling is called gynophobia? Yeah, gynophobia. And did you know cats have 32 muscles in each ear? Did you care? I don't. How about this one? In the movie Ghost, Patrick and Demi, when Demi is making something on the pottery wheel, her hands are covered in clay. But when her husband comes up behind her to give her a kiss, she turns around and they are completely clean. Next time you watch Ghost, pay attention. See if you see it. You'll be surprised, right? Sure. Well, how about this one? Steve McQueen persuaded his karate teacher, kickboxing champion Chuck Norris, to pursue acting. Now, there's something for you. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And then we'll leave you with this one. Coins usually survive in circulation for about 30 years. That is kind of interesting, I think. Now, don't go away. We still got some good stuff for you. When we come back, I'm going to be answering your emails. My first one comes from Michael Castillo from Roseville, Illinois. He's asking about home office deductions, and I'm going to answer his question right after these brief messages. You're going to want to hear it, too. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4600. 4900, or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. It's, it's gone up a little bit. It's 68 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 48 degrees. And you know what? If you're listening to us in Sydney, Australia, it's 86 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're on our global networking syndicate and you're in Auckland, New Zealand, I know I already did that, didn't we? I know I didn't. It's 72 degrees and scattered clouds. In Hong Kong, it is 68 degrees, and in Lisbon, Portugal, it is 50 degrees and clear. But right now, I'm going to answer your emails. Before I do that, though, I want to remind you that we have an app available. We'd love for you to get it. It's absolutely free. Go to the Apple Store. If you have an Apple product, and just search Robert Cardoza Live, download the app. It's absolutely free. If you have a Windows product or an Android, just go to googleplay.com. Do the same thing. Search Robert Cardoza Live and download it. It's absolutely free. If we're broadcasting live like we are right now, a little flag that says live will be right there. And if you're listening to one of our archive shows that are all listed, you can just push on the little I for the information. It'll tell you what that show's all about. Well, right now, let's talk about our emails. First one comes from Michael Castillo from Roseville, Illinois, asking about home office deductions and rights. If I convince my employer to let me work from home, will I be able to deduct a home office? Well, Michael, it's a promising idea, but home office deductions for employees are subject to some restrictions. First, the office is deductible only as an employee business expense among your miscellaneous itemized deductions, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income. Also, it's not enough for your employer to let you work at home. The law says that you must work at home for the convenience of the employer. This means that your employer must require you to work at home for its benefit. So here's a suggestion for you. Show your employer that it can save money by not providing an office to you, but rather to have it formally require you to work at home. That will take care of your problem. Hopefully it helps you, Michael. Next email comes from Evan Cho from Westfield, Massachusetts, asking about joint savings and probate, and writes, my mom wants to put her savings in a joint account with me so that I can inherit them outside of probate. If we do this, will I owe tax on half the interest earned? All the money is hers. I won't spend any of it, and I'm in a much higher tax bracket than she is. Well, Evan, if your mother provides all of the money in the joint account, the IRS is going to consider all of the money to be hers, and the interest on it is going to be taxable to her. Now, use your mother's name and Social Security number when setting up the account. They're going to be used when issuing those 1099 forms that report interest earned on the account to the IRS. Now, the interest will be reported to her, and you'll have no problem at all. But if you withdraw any of the funds that your mother puts in the account, she's going to be deemed to have made a gift of them to you at that time, and that could trigger some gift taxes and things like that, so you want to be careful. Next email comes from Dylan Culverson from Mishawaka, Indiana, asking about Social Security tax, and says, I just lost my job. Can I keep paying Social Security tax voluntarily while I am unemployed to prevent my Social Security benefits from being reduced? Well, Dylan, no. Moreover, your Social Security benefits are not based on the amount of taxes that you pay, but on the amount of your earnings, specifically your level of earnings in your 35 highest earning working years. So it is possible that your period of unemployment will not affect your future benefits at all. Now, to learn more about the Social Security benefits formula, get the free publication, Your Retirement Benefit, How It's Figured, in the publications section of the Social Security Administration website at www.ssa.gov or call 800-772-1213. They'll be happy to help you. And our final email comes from Gregory Draper, and Gregory is writing us from Elyria, Ohio, asking about tuition deductions and says, I'm a police officer. If I go to law school at night, can I deduct my tuition as a business expense since it helps me better apply the law? Well, Gregory, answer to your question, unfortunately, is no. Education generally is deductible if it improves your skills in a current line of work, but not if it qualifies you to enter a new profession. And obtaining a law degree qualifies one to practice a new profession as a lawyer. So the cost of obtaining such a degree generally is not deductible as a business expense. But there are tax breaks for education. Law school studies may qualify you to claim the lifetime learning credit or the tuition and fees deduction, student loan interest, deduction for other things. And there are some other exceptions to this. So make sure that you're out there and you're trying to find out what's going on. Also, always contact a licensed professional. They're going to save you more money than they cost you. They're going to give you a thorough interview. They're going to glean all the information necessary to give you a good answer. And they're required as one of the conditions of their licensing to have errors and omissions insurance, which means that's the same thing as malpractice insurance, by the way. It means that if they give you wrong information, they pay the piper and not you.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.